Good evening. This is the Elliott Wave Daily Update for the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500 for Wednesday, October the 2nd, 2024. A lot more muted today, with buyers returning as should be expected, I suppose. Um, but in total, nothing really to be adding dramatically to the decision of which of the two views that I am showing are actually which one has a higher probability. And it remains the same at the current moment. So let me kind of dive in and talk about the NASDAQ. Um, I'm going to start on the 4-hour chart because basically I just wanted where I left it. And this particular count is for the continuation of the minor fourth wave decline now, the C wave decline in part of the minor four. And that ultimately would lead to something getting us back towards 17,000 and probably below 17,350, which is the previous low of wave A. Okay, so within that, if we have finished the minute wave B of minor wave four, then we're starting a C wave. It'll be 5 waves. So I've marked this as 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, in this particular count, that of course that second wave cannot go above 20,331. Should it do that, it's going to really start to signal that the possibility this was ABC and wave 2 is here. So this would be, that either we have a little bit more to go before the B wave is finished, and in terms of that it turns into a more in the NASDAQ more of a irregular B that actually puts in a new high. So with all of that in mind, I am leaning still more towards this one, which shows that the C wave, the minute C wave, is what's in progress. But for that to really be effective and to work now, the market needs to hold below 20,331. The market should basically begin to turn lower again and kick in that third wave, because now it would be a 3 of 3, clean 3 of 3 move, right? Because even the internal is saying likely 1, 2. And that's why I started on the 4, because you can see it's pretty clean in terms of an ABC flat for wave 2. And that would suggest that we don't go much higher. I have included the next fib up, which is 20,197. Basically 20,200 would likely, but I'm not looking for this, which is even greater. This might be 0.88, 1.88 of the whole thing. And it's getting up there. Yes, there are algorithms that will push it to that level, but in terms of Elliott, it's not something that I would be looking for. So that in mind, if indeed it's a 1, 2, I'm not looking for much more than here, where you slip the 2 up to here, and then the market starts to come down. Now, as it comes down in the third wave, characteristically, wow, what I'd be looking for is that the strength of the market, the strength of the selling would pick up. So obviously, then that in turn is likely suggesting that once we get tomorrow's numbers, will likely be smashing through a couple of levels that would aggravate or result in additional selling. And that's the type of wave pattern that I'm looking at. And that's really what the next move would indicate. That if it truly is a third of a third, it should get going. It should not wallow around, not just kind of stay in a range. It's got a reason, and they sell. And pretty much like we did this morning, but except that's what I thought it was, like 1, 2, and it just did not. I mean, it did in terms of go down and pretty much equaled that low, but then they just turned it and they just bought it and they 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 bought it. And then they took it out right there after almost going, I think, almost back to the highs. And then after hours and that extra hour, they bought it up. That's the 4. Let's drop it down to the 1 hour and take a look inside. Coming like that, open this up just a little bit and just a little bit. So there's the B coming down the 1, the 2, and you can see, yes, we've gone above the A, but then again, we didn't go below, and that's fine. So it still pretty much fits the flat family right now. But this It's kind of a flag. If I bring it down even to the 15-minute and you take a look at it, it's a little flag. So it would be appropriate to start lower, and we'll find out in about 19 minutes. But in any case, that would be the more, I'm going to say more bearish, because we're looking for much lower levels should it be that C wave down, the minute C wave down. So I'm going to go back over here, and I am now going to talk about, well, if this all ends up being here, I'm coming down the minuet level, so it's minuet wave 1 of minute wave 3 to the upside of minor 5. Then this is going to be wave 2 and a total wave 2. So this would become A, B, and now 1, 2, 3. Is this a 4? See how it becomes a little bit too big to be a 4 against that too. So you have to start to consider the other side, which is that it goes down with greater. Because when the wave pattern starts to not fit perfectly, so in other words, if I'm looking at this as wave 1 and that we're looking for wave 2, I still would be expecting another leg down, because best I can do, I'll take it back to the 15 where we can look at more detail. The best I can do on the inside here is this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's an A, and this is a B. And now we're looking for that. Or this is a 1 and this is a 2 to fit there. But if it's a part of a 5 wave, then it's still, if I'm still looking for on a wave 2, and this is wave A and this is wave B, and now I'm looking for the C wave, I'm going to take it back to the hourly chart. Keep that in mind now, right? That what we're now looking for is this is the A wave, this is the B wave, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is wave 1 of C, wave 2 of C, and then we're coming down in the third. So what could that then suggest in terms of additional downside, right? Because if we have an A and a B and a 1 and a 2, now we're going to come down in the third, and you're going to want to put this next one on, depending on where it went, right? So you can see how they all start to cluster into the same area. So again, downside begins to pick up, but they run together, because the downside I'm looking at right now is if this is an ABC, we're coming down in the C wave to form wave 2, minuet wave 2. And what comes next is a minuet wave 3 of minute wave 3. Well, what we're looking for on the other side, possibly, if we're coming down in that C wave, is 1, 2, 1, 2. We're going to start coming off in a 3. So we got a lot that could fit within a third wave going down, and then still not be 100% clear on, well, is it the B wave that finished up here, or is it minuet wave 1 that finished up here? They both have the potential to bring us down back towards 19,000, even this low, to be honest with you. When we start running it together, we're running 2 counts coming off. And one's for one and one's for the other. So both basically right now are basically telling me we should have additional downside. So it's going to get interesting. Because if it's not, and they go up from here, then I got to back it up. And I got to put A, B, C, and then put a wave 2 here. And I'm not going to really like it all that much, because this is kind of, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So your case in point, if we break 20,331, well, then this is an ABC, and we're heading up in that third wave. If not, and we come and we start to break down, we still got the 2 counts that both are putting in 5 waves down off of that level. So if this is only 1, then we know we got a 2, and then maybe a 3, a 4, and a 5, and we're down to about 19,000. And still have a nice intense rally to boot. So again, I'm still looking for something. And one last thing, because if we take it over to the other that would be more severe downside, that can also get triggered up here. And then we get several days of just like getting out. We start breaking levels, and then we just keep breaking them. That I've also discussed, and it still remains as very, very strong probability or possibility. There's strong potential that that's what it could turn into, but that's the type that likely will be triggered. Well, we got it sitting out there. So that is that. And that is the NASDAQ. Let me just go back out to the 4-hour chart and take a look at the moving averages. And there's still a bit too much on there, but moving averages are not actually that bad. The 20 is, was kind of getting closer to the 50, but things have kind of gotten flat for right now. All right, let's go over and take a look at the ES. Starting as well on the 4-hour chart, starting with an A, there's the B, and we're coming down in that C wave. Now, exactly same deal, and that we have it the other way around. We have the minor 4 here, and this is wave 1, minute wave 1, minute wave 2. We're in minute wave 3, and what this represents, this first 5, is a minuet wave 1 of minute wave 3, just the same as in the NASDAQ. So coming off the 4-hour, with it being that the B wave, the S&P is catching downdrafts, but it's not as volatile as the NASDAQ is right now. And I think what supported that today was the Dow was volatile at times, but more to the upside than it was to the downside. Okay, so wave B on the hourly chart. We can go take a look and see what this does look like. I'm counting it as if we're in a first wave down, right? So it is going to be a minuet wave 1 of a minute wave C down to finish minor wave 4. So we are on the sub level first. We got a 1, 2, and then we got another 1, 2. And this one's got the room where it could come up and be totally flat and get itself up towards 18,784. 85, and then it'll be very nicely flatted. But it did come down and put in a new low there. I'm going to break it down to the 15 so we can take a look inside here. Well, you can see it came down. It came down, it broke it. So I was thinking, oh, okay. 1, 2. That I thought was a little sloppy. But then you realize it was a P wave. So we still have the possibility. Or actually, it could be that's A and that's a B and it's a nasty C, but it's a diagonal, and it spiked down and then spiked up and out of it. So there is a possibility under the 1 count that could be a wave 2, not to the upside. It would be the total wave 2. So in other words, coming off of this high, right? We're looking at this as if this is minuet wave 1 of minute wave 3 going up. There's the A, there's the B, and we come down. There's the C. Not pretty, but what we have is a B, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a diagonal 5, and now we're off to the races. I think almost that's a stretch. I would rather look at it as 1, and this is all a part of 2. Here's the A, here's the B, and we're in the C. Now that would suggest, because we want slight irregular, but it does suggest that we will get above this level. And if we're going to do it, then I can put on a fib as such. That's not exact. Let me just activate and move there. Okay, so on the way up, 100%, right? So where this, if this is a C wave, 100% would be at 57.74. But I think we go up to here. So we have a chance of pushing it back above 5,800, and it's still being A, B, and then this wave 2. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so those are our choices right now, that it could be a strange AB, and this is all the C wave down to here, and we put the wave 2 for that degree. So it's a minuet wave 2 of minute wave 3. And really then what we should do, if this is the kicking into a third wave, we should get a lot of this, but more broad-based, and it goes. Seriously, it goes. And I would think we get ourselves above this pretty quick. And we just now start heading towards these uppers. Okay, now that's the more bullish look. The more that's going to take us lower, I'm going to go back out to that 1-hour chart. And that would be the 1, 2, and then we drop. So unfortunately, we need to leave the room Yeah, we need to leave the room and let the market do it. No, we need to just leave the room in the market in space that it could run up to 5,800 or close to. And that gives it a little bit more expansion power. And as for whatever reason that they're coming in, that maybe they have leftovers, who knows? But then I still think, again, if we're going to start dropping in the third wave, it needs to cut through a lot of stuff here. Because what this also could be, if this is not, if this whole thing is ABC and it's going to be related to the whole 1-2, and we're still going to, well, yes, and we're still coming down because in a larger minuet, that minuet wave 2, then we do have space all the way down into here. If it really cuts loose, because don't forget, this is a C wave for that, or it's a third wave for the minute C wave. Both would suggest that we start to come and cut through all of this to finish that third wave and then come up and do a 4. Now, the smaller this third wave, the higher the potential for this whole 5 waves, not just being wave 2 from here, that minuet wave 2. If we're coming off in the minuet wave 1, it's going to be bigger, and this third wave should be bigger. Third wave should bring it down to here in a 4 and a 5 to complete it, and then a 4 and a 5, and we're going to be way down there. So that's the type of third that I'm thinking. So if we're coming down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're just getting wave 1, and then we get a 2, and then we get a big third. So I'd expect this third to also not be as huge, but enough to kick some butt. All right, now take it back out to the daily. Let's take a look at the moving averages. And the way this gets a little too cluttered, can't see them. And actually, I'm going to take these off too. There they are. So they went flat today, even with the intensity, but the flatness came because they popped back up strongly. So actually, the opening and the close is pretty much in line. All right, I am going to leave it right there. Tomorrow, economic calendar wise, what we have going on is we have in jobless claims, S&P final U.S. services, PMI, ISM services, and factory orders, 8:39:45, and then 10 a.m. for ISM and factory orders. All right, and the next daily update will be on Thursday, October the 3rd.